Hello everyone, I am CorporateNapps and welcome back to my channel. Want to speak with you guys today about my Microlocs regrets. Before we get started, if you like this type of content, be sure to thumbs up this video and of course subscribe. And for those of you who want to see a more detailed view of my locks, feel free to join me on my newly created CorporateNapps Instagram page. You can look above in the banner to find out how to follow me there, as well as in the description box below. So let's get into my Microlocs regrets. Yes, that pause is intentional. Guys, I have no regrets as it relates to my Microlocs. The truth of the matter is, as with any other style or method of wearing your hair or way of wearing your hair, there are things that I wish could be a bit different or could be made a bit easier. So let's get into that specifically. The first thing that I would say that I wish could be made a bit easier is the fuzz. So for me, I tend to have fuzz, or what they call the halo effect, around each of my locks, especially as it gets to the front and center of my head. My locks tend to just have this extra hair that will come out of the lock and form somewhat of a halo. Some people, and I don't know where people assume this is okay, they actually prune their locks. They take scissors and they cut off that extra hair that is a part of the locks. Let's not do that. Those hairs that are sticking up that are looking like fuzz, that's a part of your locks, and you can actually thin your locks out by cutting those pieces of hair off. But if something could be made easier, yeah, the first thing would be the halo effect that happens with my locks. This will not happen for everyone. As a matter of fact, there are some people who they never have this issue. Even if you are someone who does not retighten through the interlock method, many people who do the regular retwisting method, like on larger locks, as soon as they wash their hair, they will also have the halo effect. But it doesn't happen to everyone. I just happen to have a hair type where that fuzz or halo or frizz just tends to be a part of my locks. So yeah, I would like that to be a bit easier to tame. The second item that I would like to have made easier would be the amount of time that it takes to retighten. Everyone who's watched my previous videos, you know that I am a DIYer. During my first 6 months of locks, I did go to a loctician and my hair was maintained or interlocked with a 4-point rotation. However, when they would do my hair, it only took about 4 hours for her to complete my retightening. For me, it takes significantly longer. I prefer to DIY. The way that I've kind of gotten around that is I break my retightening sessions up over a number of days. So I may start my hair on, say, a Thursday, and I may not get done with it until a Monday. And that's because I'm doing it for a couple of hours at a time. So that's another item that I wish could be made a little easier for those of us who like to DIY. The third item would be the attraction of lint. Yes, especially with the winter months. I mean, we're talking wool, we're talking beautiful scarves that have fur and all types of different material. And the back of our locks can really take a beating during the winter months, really year round, with just general lint that's in the air. But the back and winter months can really take it from the different textures of clothing that we wear and the hats and scarves. So that's something that I would definitely like to be made a bit easier. Now, the fourth item may not apply to everyone, but I've mentioned in previous videos that When I started my locks, I found out that I was tender-headed. I don't remember that during my relaxed days or loose natural days, but somehow, for some reason, I became tender-headed when I got my micro locks. And that could be because, I'm not manipulating my scalp or doing things to my scalp a great deal with locks. Really, aside from washing and conditioning your hair, you don't really do a lot with your scalp, or there's not a lot of contact with your scalp. Whereas when you're relaxed or loose natural, you're having regular times of combing and brushing your scalp. So I think that tender-headedness for me may have to do with my only having to touch my scalp during my weekly washes, as well as when I may put in rollers or do twist or braid outs. But yeah, I could really stand for that to be made a bit easier. The fifth item certainly won't apply to everyone, but goodness, if there was a way to make it easier to hide the gray hair with microlocks, I would raise my hand and ask for it to be done. Obviously, gray hair is gray hair, and if it's there, it's there. But for some reason with locks, it is so much harder to hide. I remember having gray hair during the time that I had my loose natural hair, but I'm not sure if it's because they're easier to slick down or there's so much bushiness of the hair that you wouldn't necessarily see it or it would blend in. But with locks, I mean, they just tell all your business. Those gray hairs are just putting all your stuff in the streets. So that would be another item that I would want to be made easier in figuring out how to hide the gray hair. And then the sixth and final item would be that sometimes I do miss my loose natural hair. I'll be honest with you, I never miss my relaxed hair. I've never really even thought about going back to relaxed hair, even when I was loose natural. So that's not an issue, but my big loose natural hair, periodically I do miss it. So I wish there was a way to, in some world, to be able to alternate between the two, to have my big loose natural hair and my locks. I try to get around it by having roller sets and using larger or smaller rods that will allow my hair to have a bit more bulk and body to it. And so that's sort of my way around it. But I'll tell you what makes me get over the idea of having my big loose natural hair. I think about the time that it used to take to detangle. I think sometimes as lockers, we forget about how much time, for those of us with a certain type of hair, we forget about the amount of time that it would take to detangle, and it would be like a wash day, literally a full day. So sometimes I'll miss my loose natural hair, but I'll think about those detangling sessions and what that looks like weekly, and I get over it. And that's it. Just a quick video. I know this is labeled my Microlocs Regrets, but that's all I have. Not a lot of things that I would like to change, but as I mentioned, just a few things that if they could be made easier, it would make things flow a lot better when it comes to your hair. So I hope that everyone is doing well. Those are my Microlocs Regrets.